Earlier this summer, Mini invited select journalists, including MotoringFile, to take an early look at the next generation Mini family. We went hands-on with the next generation Mini Cooper Electric and the Mini Countryman Electric. We also got seat time in the cars. We got to play with the actual digital experiences, which you're going to see in this video, and they are unlike anything we've ever seen before. But maybe more importantly, we actually got time with the folks behind the car, the designers, the engineers, product planners, and even the executives. They really underscored what a reinvention this was, what a rethink. In a lot of ways, it's as big of a rethink as the 2001 R50, and you could argue the original. So sit back, enjoy the video. If you like it, give us a like. Please subscribe. We're going to have a lot more videos, a lot more articles on MotoringFile, of course, all around this next generation Mini family. Enjoy. We are looking at the interior of the brand new Mini Cooper. This, of course, is the electric Mini Cooper that is built from the ground up as an electric car. So new platform, and as you can see, entirely new interior. A lot of these themes that you see here will be carried over to all Mini products from now on, including, of course, this textile that you see, which is really striking and quite different. But let's start with the steering wheel. The steering wheel is actually covered in a synthetic material similar, well, it's leatherette more or less, but it feels actually amazing. It feels like leather. In fact, it feels like Napa leather. What's really interesting about this wheel is it actually has this fabric piece down here, which makes it look like a 3-spoked steering wheel. It's actually kind of only 2 spokes, which is, again, kind of an interesting design choice. So one of the things you also notice right away is the way that Mini has designed the new vents, which are really, really discreet in a lot of ways. So for instance, we don't have a vent here in the center, you think, but there actually is one. It's behind this sort of control panel. You operate it with this right here, turning it on and off, and you actually move it left and right, up and down with that little control. Same thing with over here. You've got 2 different vents you control, obviously, and then one over here. In the center console, we have almost a kind of a rethink and kind of a reimagination of the original rail system from the Countryman. So that means that there are components that you can take in, take out, and ultimately even upgrade. So if you want more cup holders, you can have them. But let's focus just briefly on this center screen, this new experience, which is at the heart of this interior, of course. What we're looking at right now is called Core Mode. It's sort of that initial welcome screen, if you will. I'm going to kind of flip through a couple of these experiences so you get a feel for what this actually will be like when you're driving, when you're owning the car. So just going to the next screen here, we have what is essentially Core Mode with navigation on. This is, again, still navigation, but it's in go-kart mode. Go-kart mode, as you can imagine, is the sportier mode. I'm sure it's what a lot of people are going to love. Moving forward, we've got Vivid, which is sort of the party mode, if you will. This is also going to be, we're going to have lighting. There's a lot of different sort of choreographic elements with the lighting that's going to go along with all these different experiences. But moving forward, then we've got Green Mode. And Green Mode is, as you can imagine, a little more subdued, brings up a little bit more of the environmental conscious theme that Mini is obviously very fond of. Now, let's take a look at some really interesting themes. This is timeless, and this is a direct sort of take from that original 1958 Mini. I think people are going to love this mode in particular, from the font to even the odometer there. This is a really, really well done theme that I think is going to be just, again, really popular. Here we are with go-kart mode. Again, I think another one that's going to be really popular with the enthusiasts. Harkens back to that classic sort of vibe with these dials everywhere. It's very graphic, but also at the same time very minimal. And then we get into, this is actually Vivid as well, where you're playing music. Let's take a look at some of the interface. So when we're playing music, you've got this really beautiful artwork, dead center, easy to use controls. Of course, you've got the sort of the home bar down here where you can get to your normal home button. You've got your heating, air conditioning, etc. You've got some apps that are always used. There's Spotify in this particular case, navigation and phone, of course. If we flip through, you'll see that same exact view, or a different view. This is efficient mode or green mode. And this gives you like a really, really good sort of view of how expressive that can be. And then getting into, so back to this mode, one of the things to point out here is the fact that you've got all of your information really accessible. So you've got your power, you've got your battery with actual miles left, of course your speed, gear you're in. Now, this is interesting. Those are the dual climate controls. This is actually a micro animation. You click it, it pops up. We'll see that later. But the key thing here is that this is an experience that's incredibly intuitive straight away. Now let's take a look at the actual music interface. Again, this is Spotify, but they'll be similar. So here we see different album artwork and the ability to scroll through. A lot of the expected interface reactions and interactions are taken straight from what we all know. Smartphones, whether it's Android, whether it's iOS, they're very, very similar, and we're expecting them to be very usable. And let's go into another view of categories. Again, this is very obvious if you've ever used any app anywhere on any smartphone. And then finally, we look at, or not finally yet, but we look at the two different really personas that the Mini can have. In this case, it's Mini. So this is the moment where you say, "Hey, Mini," and actually the sort of the avatar, if you will, comes out and asks what you need, and you can ask it to turn heat on. You can have heated seats. You can do anything that you can imagine functionally through the avatar. But the other option is Spike, and we've talked a lot about Spike. A lot of people are wondering, is Spike mandatory? It's not. There are two different versions. I'm told Spike is really fun and enjoyable, so we'll see. He obviously looks pretty cute, and I think certainly certain folks are going to love this one. Now, finally, we have personal mode, and this is one I think that people are going to love. So what this is essentially an image that you upload from your phone on the Mini app and send it straight to your screen. And so you're essentially creating your own experience through photography. So in this case, it's a classic Mini, which looks fantastic in here, but it can be something as personal as your dog. You can stare at your dog every day in your car, in your Mini, as you drive. So that's a quick run through of the interface of the brand new electric Mini Cooper. This is the interface that we're going to see in the new Countryman, as well as the interface we're going to see in the revised, or the new revised ICE Minis that will be also coming out next year. This is the future of Mini infotainment, and then, like I said, really the center of the entire interior experience. And then finally, these are the mechanical, or sort of the switches that really are left. We've got a parking brake, the sort of standard gear lever. This is your power. It feels like a key. Experiences toggle, and of course your volume control. Adaptive suspension, parking. You've got of course your emergency flashers, max vents front and rear, and that is the new Mini. We've got a lot more for you to come, but it's a very early look at what is really a revolutionary car.